Okay, so, is it recording? I think it's recording. So, welcome to Turbulent, the Giants at War. This is the idea development and research by Navs Media Productions, aka Tom Reeds. You know it's me anyways. So, first of all, what is Turbulent? So, Turbulent is a railway artillery warfare stop motion picture, which I'm going to be producing for the final major project. So, how does this link in with isolation? Well, when these guns were actually built, they were built in the ultimate of secrecy, which is also a form of isolation, because if you're being secretive, you're kind of isolating yourself by not telling people or keeping people in the dark. But also, the guns were positioned in remote locations, so obviously with it being remote it's out of sight, and again that is quite isolated when you think about it. So yeah, that's how it links in. So why stop motion? Well, I haven't done stop motion in over 17 years, and it's another form of video which I enjoy producing the video side of the media and also the audio side. Given that these are both of my strongest elements, I thought, well, why not give stop motion a try? Yes, it's a bit different to normal video, but it's still video nonetheless. So, whilst we're on the topic of stop motion, I have two examples of stop motion adverts, or well, stop motion videos in the form of two adverts. So first of all, we'll watch the Bacardi train. Okay, so obviously with that example, they're using Bacardi, which is a kind of vodka, I think. It's some form of alcoholic drink, but the way they have done it, that 30-second sequence will probably use at least 200 photos. So stop motion is all like piled in together. Now let's look at the other advert, which is the Nothing Grows Like It Hornbeat advert. Now this is different because it incorporates full motion picture as well as stop motion in certain aspects. Let's play it.
Just play the track for a hornbeat set and it all happens. Look at that, just in time, hornbeat's there on the line. Oh, nothing goes like it, nothing grows like it, hornbeat. Nothing goes like it, nothing grows like it, hornbeat. You have such fun with a hornbeat set, watching it happen. Oh, be quick, just in time, hornbeat there on the line. Hornbeat. Oh, nothing goes like it, nothing grows like it, hornbeat. Nothing goes like it, nothing grows like it, hornbeat.
Okay, so as you saw with the Nothing Grows Like It advert, there was some aspects of the video side of it, but also mainly on like the bridges, how they came in section by section. That is a form of stop motion, but it's image placement stop motion, which is one of the techniques I'm going to try and implicate with my railway warfare stop motion. Speaking of, get off that and then go down to that. Why railway warfare, I hear you ask? Well, when you hear warfare, you mainly hear stories about the aviation side, or the naval side, or the land forces. But never do you actually hear about like stuff like the heavier side of it, like the actual like artillery guns or air raids, or well, you hear about air raids, but never about the anti-aircraft defence. Well, not in detail, but the railway warfare is, well, for one, it's niche, so that's why I wanted to do it. Number two, it's not something you hear about often, which is again another reason why. And number three, it's a subject which is interesting to me. I actually find railway warfare pretty interesting, so that's another reason for me to do it, because what's the point in producing something if you don't have an interest in it? So, the stop motion set, or the sets in this case, how do I plan to overcome this potential obstacle? Well, that's pretty easy. You see, what I intend to do is build two sets. One for the UK side and one for the German side. Now, obviously with myself being a model railway builder, a railway modeler, I have spare bits of track which I've used for small projects before, which are now surplus to requirement. They now have a requirement. I'm going to be using them to build the sets for the British guns and the German guns. This is a silver lining for me, as normally building something like a diorama for a model railway can take a bit of time, but with me having the pieces of track already available, and I have the track already pinned down to a board and pre-ballasted, that saves me a hell of a lot of time. So all I need to do is really build the scenics up on it, and then get it ready for becoming an actual set. Okay, so what about the guns? So on the screen in front of you, you can see there are 4 guns. So we'll start at the top section, and we'll work our way down. So we have on the top left, well, the left hand side is the British guns, and the right hand side is the German guns. So these are all models, which I do own a model of each gun. The top left is His Majesty's gun Bosch Buster in the World War I camouflage livery. This is a 14-inch howitzer gun, which will be used on the British side in the World War I scenes. And the on the top right over here, we have the Krupp K5 Leopold in the World War I camo barn livery. Again, I do own both. I do own these models, so it was another reason for me to actually produce this. So going down onto the bottom, on the bottom left, we have His Majesty's gun Gladiator in World War II khaki livery, which is just a standard khaki. This is similar to Bosch Buster, but it is actually a 13.5-inch howitzer rail cannon. Going back to Bosch Buster real quick, there is archive footage of Bosch Buster actually firing during World War I. I will also link this archive footage into the main presentation. And on the bottom right is the Krupp K5 Robert. This is in the World War II camouflage livery. So these are the 4 guns which I'm going to be using. They do not fire because they are models, just so you are clear, and just so I don't get reported for talking about guns. You can clearly see that these are all models. Are we good? Excellent. So What does the survey have to say about this? Well, let's just go and... No, not you. No, stop. Technical difficulties, people. There we go. Okay, so if I just refresh. So I've had 11 responses in the time that my survey has been live, and over 50% of the audience who have answered the survey are actually female. Now, this surprised me when I was conducting my research, in the fact that I was expecting more of a male based audience, but then again, I didn't realise Warfare was so popular with females. And then just going down on the on this, you have 100% response of the people are aged 16 to 19. So that gives me a good idea. My target audience is females aged 16 to 19. And then I asked them, out of the media products which I mentioned on the side, as you can see, what are they more likely to use? And 81% of the responders mentioned about videos. I don't know why I put stop motion, because that comes under videos. And then going down onto how long people spend viewing specific media products. This surprised me, because it is dead split between two of them. In the fact that two of them both have 36%, and one is 0 to 10 minutes and the other 45 to 60 minutes. So how does this affect my production? This helps me because I can now give a rough estimate of how long I'm going to be producing the production for. So I'm aiming for 10 to 15 minutes on the stop motion in total, which I think is going to be a good enough project. And then I also asked them, do they associate war with the theme of isolation? And over 50% of my responses said yes, they do. And then I had a few which said maybe, and then some which said no. So for those who didn't agree with me, or did not associate it with, I asked them what themes they associated war with, and someone said terror, and someone just said war, which is pretty generic, but this has given me a really good start in my FMP and research. So I think that's going to be all for tonight. Thank you very much for listening to me. I know it's been a bit boring me rambling on, but someone's got to do research. So thank you very much, and I will most likely see you in the next update video. Goodbye.